Hi everyone, welcome to another one of our workshops. I am Carly and I work with Links for Greener Learning, and this workshop today is part of our From Our Garden workshop series where we create a variety of different body care products out of the herbs that we grow in our gardens. Today we are making a healing Calendula Salve. This is going to be a salve that's good for the skin, good for things like dry hands, or if you have a bit of a rash or a bug bite. It's really good for, just moisturizing those areas and tending to that. So to get started, we will need to, I have a double boiler here. You can do this on the stove as well. I just have it on an element set up here. If you have a double boiler, that's great. We just have a setup going where we have a pot with some water that we've been boiling and placing this metal bowl on top. And that's essentially just to, you don't want the heat directly on what we're making today. So there's a bit of a gap there. And yeah, so we're just going to be placing the ingredients in the bowl and let it melt all together and work with that. So the first thing that we want to add is our beeswax. This recipe calls for 6 tablespoons of beeswax, or about 1 ounce if you're using a shaved block of beeswax. So I have about 6 tablespoons here measured out. And you just pour that in the bowl, and along with the shea butter, we're going to start with the 2 more solidified butters first, just to get them melted down to the right consistency, and then we'll add the olive oil a little bit later on. And you want your boiler on, it's on medium, yeah, just a medium heat to keep the steam going. So 4 tablespoons of shea butter is what we'll need next. We just have a big block of it here that we purchased, and it's pretty soft, so we can just scoop it out easily with a measuring spoon. There we go, and then we're just going to let that melt down into a liquid form. It'll be much easier to work with. So shea butter it's very, very moisturizing, and it's rich in vitamins and minerals, essential fatty acids, and antioxidants. It helps to rejuvenate and moisturize the skin and the hair. And it also provides the essential vitamins that make the skin much softer, smoother, and healthier. So we're just going to let that melt down to a better consistency. And while we're waiting for that, I'll let you know about the calendula olive oil that is used in this recipe. All right, so in this recipe, it calls for 2 cups of calendula olive oil. And to get that, all we did was infuse olive oil with calendula flowers, which you can see here. You can either get dried calendula flowers, you can find them online or in a local natural health store or a farm, or you can grow them yourself. We grow lots of calendula in our garden. It's a beautiful flower and it flowers all season. So we just have the dried flowers here. And if you're using your own flowers, you would just take the dried leaves, you would harvest it and let it dry for at least a couple weeks to get out all the moisture. And then you could store that somewhere. But when you go to use it in the oil, you're just going to want to take off the flower petals and use that for the oil and take off the base of the flower there. And that really gives you this beautiful golden amber color. You can leave the base of the flower on, it would just become a little bit more green. And to make this, you fill the oil up to the rim of any kind of jar you're using. This is a medium-sized jar, but however much you want to make, it can be a small jar or a larger jar. We have a larger jar here, depending on the amount of flowers that you have. And yeah, just add the olive oil and the flower petals. And to infuse that and add a little bit of heat to it, you can simply just put it outside in your yard in the sunshine for about a day. And then after that, it would be good to use. If you're watching this at the beginning of the season, this might give you an idea if you want to make this salve later on in the year to start growing some calendula flowers. With a few plants, you can get plenty of flowers to harvest and save. And I just have an example of the calendula seeds here. They're very easy to save for next year's plantings as well. At this point, your shea butter and your beeswax pellets should be almost at the liquid form. And the one thing you'll want to make sure that you do is use a whisk. The liquid together. This helps to really break up the particles of each substance and kind of just blend them all together. If you don't use a whisk, we find that it just kind of ends up solidifying into its regular form separately rather than all mixed together. All right, and to pour out the calendula, I have just a measuring cup and a cheesecloth to strain out any of the flower petals that might fall out. And we're looking for 2 cups of this calendula oil. Calendula, again, is really, really nice for the skin, for healing any irritations or rashes. These 2 cups, yeah, the whole
I think it's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too good. The measuring up to about there.
Perfect. Just enough.
Feel free to put a little bit more in it. Beauty.
Alrighty.
Let me get you something for that.
All right, so as long as your shea butter and your beeswax pellets are all melted down to more of a liquid form, you can add the calendula oil.
Nice. Give it a whisk. Looks like it cooled it down a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, it's okay. Give it a good whisk. It will all become clear.
Yeah, and then we just simply poured from the container into these 4-ounce tins. This recipe made about 10 4-ounce tins altogether. So yeah, it makes quite a bit with not too many ingredients. And then we just let them set. You'll just want to let them set and not try not to move them as they're setting. And not quite yet, but when they get a little bit more solid, we're just gonna add some of these flower petals, the dried flower petals, just at the top to add a little bit of a touch of color there.
You want to tell them about it?
Optional. And we didn't add it today, but if you would like to add any kind of essential oils into this salve, like lavender or peppermint would be nice, or any of your favorites you can easily add to the mixture. And then also if you have any additional vitamin E drops, you can put those in just as an extra touch there. And yeah, it's as easy as that. So thank you so much for joining us here again today. And
no problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Alphonsine. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, see you soon.
Bye for now.
You too. Thank you.